Studios at the foot of the Rockies, Denver, Colorado, for this edition of the NFL on EA Sports. And off we go from Denver. And a nice return sets him up pretty good here right at the 30-yard line. So 1st and 10 now from the 30. They'll start this drive out on the ground. This will be stopped about 2 yards shy of the marker. 8-yard gain, 2nd and 2. If these kinds of lanes are available, you have to feel like he's going to have a pretty big game on the ground.
Yeah, you can tell early on he's got a little burst in his step, and that's a big pickup right there on 1st down.
From the 38 now, here's 2nd down and 2. Here's Smith. Short throw caught by Bowers. And he'll be taken down, but not before he works it past the 50. The pickup goes for 16 and a Raider 1st down.
Not too many teams will use a first-round pick on a tight end, so you know that when one does, he's got to be pretty darn special.
A small example of why they took him in the 1st round there. Nice little catch and run to get the good yardage. Now Geno. That's going to be caught. It's Jacoby Myers. He's going to go out of bounds, but he takes this one down just shy of the 20. 25 yards there on the catch and run. And on this first drive, looks like they want to get that vertical passing game going early.
And they did, and what a warning shot they just fired. If you're not going to back up and play coverage deep, we're going to attack you all game long. And once you adjust to that and you start to back off, then that opens things up underneath. A really nice start for them. Great way to get the game going.
And they'll get this down to the 10. 11 more on that one and another 1st down. They've taken this opening kickoff and marched it right down the field defensively. Not much resistance.
And that's the point, because my admiration is for the guys moving the ball right now. They know what they're doing. Their plan is working. But I flip it over and watch and say, okay, what are you going to do to change things up? Because if you don't, they're going to put that ball in the end zone real soon.
No dice this go-around. He's hit behind the line and taken down. It's a loss of a yard there, and now 2nd down.
The short field shrinks even more with the type of bodies they brought in on that play. Those extra tight ends, they weren't able to secure their blocks, and that one ended up going backwards.
So they get pushed back to the 11, and here's 2nd and goal. One back in the backfield, he'll get the carry. And he'll be brought down here at the 3-yard line. 7 big yards on the carry there to get him within range of the goal line with 3rd down upcoming. Driven it down the field nicely here on the opening drive, but now it's put up or shut up.
No doubt about it, because to make that type of a drive and ultimately kick a field goal would feel very disappointing. But I'm just wondering, is the head coach thinking, is this 4-down territory? Might he go for it?
Eluding the pressure right. And he is in. Touchdown, Raiders. Geno Smith. A 3-yard touchdown run. And the Raiders will claim the early lead as they're on the board first here tonight. Solid finish to the opening drive. And look, when you get down around the goal line, you have to account for his legs. We saw it right there.
Yeah, that's the added dimension to the offense, isn't it? Remember what the offensive line coach told us earlier this week? I told my guys, he's going to run it. We have to make sure he stays protected and give him an opportunity.
Following the touchdown, ready to kick it away is Carlson. And they will wrangle him down a couple yards shy of the 30. Here's the Denver offense now as they get set to take over here. Throwing Nix. And he gets this up across the 35 before he's out of bounds. 10 yards there to start the drive, and just enough by about the length of the football for a 1st down. We'll see what kind of mindset they have here offensively after giving up the touchdown on the opening drive.
And based on our time with them, prior to this game, I feel like they've got a good mindset going in. In fact, the discussion that we had with the coaching staff was, we may give up some points in this game, so our offense has to be ready each and every time to either equal or try and get us ahead and try and keep us ahead. This is their chance to respond to that first touchdown given up.
19 yards that time for number 19. So here's a 1st and 10 now in Raider territory at the 43. They'll run up the gut with Dobbins. And he's got it to about the 40.
Nice chunky yards on 1st down. It really opens up your options for what you want to do on 2nd. You go right back to him and hope he explodes, or sucker the defense in before throwing over the top.
Ball on the 40 now. Here's 2nd and 6. Now it's Nix. He finds his man, complete. That's Harvey. And he's going to have another 1st down as the tackle comes at the Raiders' 25-yard line. It's a pickup of 15 and a fresh set of downs.
We can talk all we want about football being a game of strength and brawn. It's also a game of mismatches, and they're trying to create one there, getting it to their back out of the backfield to make a bigger play.
As we often say, get it to him in space, let him use his leg.
Yeah, if he can get a matchup against a linebacker or maybe a defensive end dropping out in a zone blitz, he's going to win that battle just about every time.
And he'll protect himself at the end here as he winds up getting pretty decent yardage. The improv on the scramble there gets him 6, and it'll be 2nd down.
This early in the game, it's all about making steady progress downfield, hoping to lead to early points. And you can do it with your actual play calls or sometimes something a little more improvised, as we just saw there.
And this one incomplete. Too much contact to hold on to that one, and it's 3rd down.
It's been a good opening drive offensively thus far, but they don't want to waste it and settle for a field goal attempt after that incompletion. So this is a big play coming up here on 3rd down.
Here's the 7th play of this drive. This is 3rd and 4. Working out of the gun is Nix. That is caught. And they work this near the 5. He'll be stopped at the 6. They're able to convert on 3rd down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
And in a lot of ways, that catch is expected. Red zone presence, and that one was realized there. You've got to find your tight end in that situation.
1st and goal, and a chance to get that initial touchdown right back. Here's Nix. And it's caught. That'll bring up 2nd and goal after the gain of 5.
Such a tough position to defend near the line, even when you add a 2nd defender, but the big man shrugged off the extra body and made the play call a success.
2nd and goal from the 1. Dobbins diving for the end zone, and he'll get there. Touchdown.
Sometimes offenses can get too cute down near the goal line, but there's nothing fancy about this one. As Coach Lombardi would say, we get a seal here, and we get a seal here, and we run this play in the alley. And that's good work to hit the hole hard and finish in the end zone.
Lutz good on the extra point, and we are tied at 7. Each team's had it. Each team has scored. 7-7 here as the kick's away. Oh, a good return up past the 30. And good starting field position. He'll get this one all the way up to about the 35-yard line. 2nd drive of the game coming up for this Las Vegas offense. A lot of time for this unit to game plan on the sideline after that drive that they watched the other side just score. But remember, last time they were out, they scored as well. We'll see if they can seize that momentum right back.
And they have had a lot of time to cool off from reaching the end zone the last time. So have they been able to keep themselves mentally sharp and into this game, even though they haven't been on the field?
And you and I both know, one big play, though, gets them right back up to that level.
Well, they're making an effort to get the ground game going tonight. So far, it's working.
I like what we're seeing from the offensive line. They seem to have the leverage going, and they're controlling things and reestablishing the line of scrimmage, moving that defensive front backwards, but also like what the runner's giving us, too. It appears that he's been waiting all day long to get out here and take off.
It'll go down as a 2-yard loss, and it brings up a 3rd down.
I like the strategy. Extra tight ends, extra beef. They want to run the football, but that means they probably want to run it inside. If you get strung out on the perimeter, you're in peril.
Yeah, we saw the result, negative yardage. On 3rd down, they'll try and run for it on the draw. And they stop him up short of the 1st down as they get him at about the 43. It's a gain of 5, but it'll lead to a 4th down. Here's A.J. Cole now to punt this one away. And Marvin Mims deep for Denver. He'll send this away into the Rocky Mountain Night, and it's a good one. And he didn't quite have the backspin on that one. It hits at the 4 and continues into the end zone. It's a touchback. So now the 2nd drive offensively coming up for the Denver Broncos. A long drive last time out for this offense, Charles. If you remember, they started basically in the shadows of their own end zone, marched it down the field, and a lot of that was through the passing game.
And, partner, as a former defensive back, I'm having almost a physical reaction watching what's happening right now. But let's give credit where it's due, because they've done an excellent job moving the ball through the air. Secondary getting picked apart pass by pass. Obviously, they need to make some adjustments there on the back end.
Yeah, because offensively, we know that they're not going to be shy about throwing that football.
Yeah, things were pretty stacked up there in the middle of the line. A lot of bodies, not much space. I think ultimately, he was fortunate to get anything out of that run.
Up the middle they go. It's Harvey. Up past the 25 to the 26, a gain of 5.
I think we can safely say that those types of plays are the backbone of this offense. We know not every run's going to be a big hitter, but you know they'll take that type of result on each and every attempt.
Here is 3rd down and 4. To throw is Nix. That ball caught by his rookie wideout. And he will have the Broncos 1st down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion.
And, Brandon, from our time in college football, where receivers weren't running the traditional NFL route tree, one thing they did learn, find open areas, find soft spots, and set up and catch the ball. And I think we just saw that there.
Yeah, we saw that indeed, picking up the 1st. He's going to look deep down the field. Oh, and that is incomplete.
But they certainly came out firing in this one, and while that one was incomplete, I can't imagine that'll be the last shot that they take in this game.
Now a 2nd and 10. Now a handoff up the middle. It's Harvey. And he'll be stopped at the 46, gain of 3. Here's 3rd and 7. Nix to the air. And down he goes. Brought down a Raider sack. He couldn't get away there on 3rd down. The pressure too much, and he's sacked for a loss of 12.
The lessons will continue, but this rookie, he's got to learn how to read situations just a little bit better. That far behind the line, he's got to find a way to get rid of the football and not take the sack, whether it's with his legs or just throwing it away.
So they're forced to punt on 4th as this one's away. Pulled in at the 24. So possession goes over here on the punt. And it'll be Raiders football, 1st and 10. Here's Las Vegas ready to take the field. They'll start on the ground here on first down. A short gain here, maybe a yard to the 29.
Well, sometimes you just have to give credit to the defense. Great job there at the point of attack, holding up. They won their battles at the line of scrimmage, left him no space to try and run. A really nice job swarming to the ball carrier.
Here's a 2nd and 9 now from the 29. Now they'll run on the draw. And he'll be brought down right around the 37. 9 yards to pick up there, and it's a first down.
Well, they came into this game saying it was important that they set the tone and show that they can run the football. And I believe that they've done that here in the first quarter.
7-7, our score after 1. Second quarter now, and it's Las Vegas with the football as they've got it with a 1st and 10. Throwing is Smith. And he can't find a receiver, and he's brought down. It'll be a loss of 7 on the sack, and it brings up 2nd.
I thought there at the end he may have had a chance to release that, but that pocket closed a little too quickly, and down he went.
Yeah, he was certainly trying to do everything he could to extend the life of the play, probably counting in his head 1, 2, and then he ran out of time.
Geno now to throw.
That one complete to Trey Tucker.
17 yards on the pickup, and that's going to make it 3rd down and less than a yard.
That's a good bounce-back play right there after taking a sack on 1st down. Didn't quite get it to the marker, but now they're in a much better spot for a 3rd and short yardage call. If you're the offensive coordinator, you like looking at that section a heck of a lot better than trying to figure out 3rd and long.
From the gun, he'll hand this off. And he is going to have the Raiders' 1st down, maybe by about a yard as they find a way to convert on 3rd and inches.
I always appreciate runners who understand situations. That was just 3rd and inches. No reason to dance around in the backfield and try and break off a bigger play. Just go pick up the 1st down, and that's exactly what he did.
Right back to him on 1st down. And he's got it across midfield and into Denver territory.
Talanoa Hufanga in on the stop. Here's 2nd and 7.
Throwing now is Geno. And he's got his man out of the backfield. That's complete. And he'll go down inside the 45 before going out of bounds. The offense on 3rd down tonight, they've been okay. 2 for 3 thus far. Here it's 3rd and 2. Smith.
He's got his running back out of the backfield. And he is going to have the Raiders' 1st down. It's a gain of 6 that time on 3rd and 2.
As an unbiased observer, I think it would have been interesting to see what they would have done if they hadn't gotten the 1st down there. But since they did, I guess the point is moot.
Yeah, they're right there in that middle ground, field goal range, punt, go for it. But as you said, they picked it up. And incomplete on the deep ball.
Well, they had that one snipped out defensively. That's a tough one to connect on when you got multiple defenders in the area, and it winds up incomplete.
Smith, an incomplete pass on 1st down. Now it's 2nd and 10. They'll look to throw again. No chance to get away there for Smith as he goes down. It'll go as a loss of about 6, and now it brings up 3rd.
The drive had started well after a punt last time. Now it's slowed down a bit, and let's face it, they don't want to punt the ball in back-to-back series. They want a sustained drive on this one.
Now a tough spot for Geno Smith and company after the sack. It's 3rd and long. Now back to throw. And he's going to go down again.
Dropped for a loss of 7 by multiple defenders. A 3rd and long. You knew that he was going to throw it. He just couldn't find anybody to throw it to.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have been a surprise, but that was perfect execution of their nickel defense. That 5th defensive back, the extra defender, he really tightened up things downfield in coverage, and they were able to get to him in the pocket.
And the kick's away as he angles this one for the sideline. And this one goes angling out of bounds, and it will be spotted inside the 30-yard line. Now the Broncos offense, they get set to head back onto the field. So 1st and 10 now from the 30.
Off the play fake. Here's Nix.
And it's incomplete. Took a shot, couldn't connect.
That's going to frustrate the coaching staff a little bit as they dialed up the deep shot, but they weren't on the same page on that play. Heck, I don't think they were in the same book. I think he thought he was going to do something else, ends up throwing it over the sidelines. Well incomplete.
To throw. Here's Nix. And this throw incomplete. Now the defender all over him that time, but it's going to lead to 3rd down.
Normally you think the tight end's going to be able to catch the football and handle that contact, but in this case, maybe a little too much target to hit. That one was timed well, incomplete.
So back-to-back incompletions, and that has him staring at a 3rd and 10. Back to throw. Nix. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. I guess no need to force it when you can do that instead. 1st down, 18-yard gain.
Well, he and his offense were staring down what was likely a 3-and-out. Zero fear from his side, though. Never doubted for a second they'd pick up the first. He's ready to pull the trigger on a keeper the moment it revealed itself.
On 1st and 10, it's Dobbins.
Give him 5 on the carry there, and it'll be 2nd down.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty right there. Look at how quick those blockers fired off the line once the ball was snapped. That was an O-line on a mission, all in sync, and the defense is lucky that play only picked up 5 yards.
From the 47, it's 2nd and 5.
Looking to throw. Nix. Now they go screen. It's complete. Well, he's going to be out of bounds, but not before he takes it inside the 40. They picked up 5 yards last time. Now they double it and get 10 here.
When you run a screen pass really well, you got to like the look of it because so many parts come together to make it work well. The offensive linemen where they're faking people out, the back slipping out there, catching the football, then all of them going together as one unit downfield. A really nice pickup.
And he is going to lose yardage here.
Yeah, so they get that one, Charles, on the right tackle.
Yeah, oftentimes in that spot, you're trying to work against a defender, trying to set the edge in the running game, and you're trying to drive around and get your body twisted so that he can't get there. Sometimes your hands get too involved.
They're backed up here with a 1st and 20 now after the holding penalty.
A give, Dobbins trying the right side.
And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. That's going to go as a loss of 1 on 1st down.
Well, that's not an easy play for a defensive end because most of his responsibility has him getting upfield and working, but how about his vision to see where the play was going, crashed down inside, and tackled him for a loss.
Now Dobbins again on 2nd down.
2 runs in a row, but only 2 yards to show for it. A long way to go here on 3rd down for the 8th play of the drive. Back to throw. Nix.
Oh, this will be incomplete. The rush gets home just as he was letting that go. That could have been worse. Instead, it's 4th down.
So many times we've seen him try to escape the pocket and do something with his legs, but in this case, the pressure was too intense and he made the wise choice to just get rid of the football and make sure no one was going to get it.
And on 4th down, on is the punt team sending this one away. No returning this one. It sails out of bounds, and they'll spot it right at the 20. The Raiders offense now making their way back out onto the field. They'll start this drive out on the ground. And he stopped right at the 25 after a gain of 5.
Nice satisfying run on 1st down for the offense, picking up 5, which means defensively, the thought process is entirely different. You don't want to panic, but at the same time, you're saying to each other, we've got to tighten this down. We can't give up gains like that.
Here's a 2nd and 5 now from the 25. Now it's Smith. And a quick throw here, that's complete. His first catch, good for 8 and a 1st down. One back in the backfield, he'll get the carry. And he'll be taken down right around the 34 after a pickup of only a yard.
And this is why aggressive defensive coordinators love to blitz. It wreaks havoc because they end up taking their attention to the blitzers, freed up the D lineman to make the play.
From the 34-yard line, here's 2nd and 9.
And they'll give him another shot here on the ground. He'll get about 4 as he's past the 35 to the 38-yard line.
On any running play that's called, they're always hoping that it's going to break big and go the distance. But when you get a nice gain like that, you're able to do so many things anyway. You can come back and run essentially the same play again, continue to move the ball on the ground, or you can decide to throw the ball now because usually you have the defense back on its heels.
Just beating the play clock, Smith.
Oh, he had him. He was open, but he couldn't get it to him. It's incomplete.
So many times when we talk about coverage, we're just about a defender running with a receiver, but a big part of it is understanding where the football is, finding it. In this case, when it arrived, it wasn't a surprise, and he was able to bat it away.
On 4th down, A.J. Cole comes on to punt. He's been a busy man here in this first half as he gets it away. It's a return of 5 following a punt of 42 yards. And the Broncos take over, 1st down and 10.
The football going back over to the Denver Broncos. As we eke closer and closer to intermission, Charles, remember last time out they punted. They would love to get points here, especially if this is going to be their final possession of the first half.
Yeah, and this is what close games feel like because the pressure is on both sides, but sometimes the pressure is a little bit higher on the team with the slight edge because they're trying to hold on to that, trying to increase it. Let's see how this one continues.
It's a 6-yard pickup, and it gets them to 2nd and 4.
From the lineman to the guy running with it, that was a well-executed 1st down by the offense. With 2 shots left to get the first, you can get a little aggressive here on 2nd down if you want and try for some bigger yardage.
Now Dobbins again on 2nd down.
And he's able to take this one up to the 35-yard line. A gain of 5, good enough for the 1st down.
But, partner, if the defense isn't going to adjust and they keep giving them those 5, 6, 7-yard runs over and over, they're likely to run it the whole way to the end zone. They'll be more than happy to take the yardage available and save some of their other plays in the playbook for another time.
They'll look to throw now on 1st down. And the Raiders have got him.
Max Crosby blowing up the play and getting the sack.
And they weren't in zone coverage. They were in man, and each man did his job.
And that looked like vintage, old-school coverage, didn't it? Man coverage reminded me of an old Raiders team. They had a Hall of Famer at one corner and a Defensive Player of the Year at the other, and they just locked people down.
Looking to throw. Nix gets this quickly to Ingram. Now the Broncos are going to call the first of their timeouts as they'll talk it over here before what will be an important third down. Back to throw. Nix in trouble, and he's taken down. The Raiders going to use one of their timeouts as they'll head to the sideline and talk over what to do next. The Broncos send out their punter now as he's on here to punt it away. A 41-yard punt there with no return. And the Raiders will take over now, 1st and 10. The Vegas offense ready for their next possession. Tie ball game, still a little more than a minute to go in the half. The question, can they put something together here, try to take that lead into intermission?
I would have to think that would be the goal for sure. I don't think you sit on anything here. Here's your opportunity. Push it downfield. As you mentioned, it's a tie game. So minus a disaster on your part, you've got that in your back pocket. Go ahead and try and get some points and feel great going into the half.
My first thought is surprise because that's one of the better tight ends around, and I've seen him pull in balls like this before. But how about a little credit to the defense forcing that incompletion?
Smith, an incomplete pass on 1st down. Now it's 2nd and 10. They're going to look to throw. He's going to flip that out to the flat. It's complete. Now the Broncos going to use the second of their timeouts as the stoppage will come with a little under a minute to go in this first half.
So here's a 3rd and 14.
Now a handoff running through the middle. And he'll get this up to the 34-yard line. Now the Raiders going to go ahead and use the second of their timeouts as they get the stoppage with a little over 50 seconds to go in the first half. From the 34 now, here's 1st and 10. Smith now to throw. That's caught by Myers. Now the Raiders going to burn their 3rd and final timeout as the clock will stop with 45 seconds to go in the first half. To throw is Smith. And that went too far in front. He couldn't reel it in. It's incomplete.
This could be the start of a nice stand from this defense now after getting walked backwards on this drive. Come through with another one here, and you have them staring at a 3rd and long, and that puts the defense in a position to dictate to the offense.
Smith, an incomplete pass on 1st down. Now it's 2nd and 10. They'll set up a throw.
Short throw caught by Bowers.
4 yards the gain, and it'll bring up a 3rd down.
Well, the strategy was evident there. Get it to your tight end and make it a one-on-one play with a cornerback. Who's usually going to win that one?
The tight end, but not there.
Not in this situation. How about the corner defeating that logic and making a really nice tackle?
Back to throw, Smith.
Pass to the sideline and pulled in.
And he gets it down a yard or two shy of the 30 before he's out of bounds. There, they just keep marching right along. 1st down on a pickup of 8 there.
And that's how you pick up a 1st down. Not only does he make the catch, but has enough body control to get his feet down inbounds, toe tapping and dragging to make sure he gets it done.
And that's incomplete. Clock stops with 10 seconds left.
They had their backs up against the wall a little bit, and they come through by forcing an incompletion. Now they've got to continue to ratchet up the intensity a couple of more times and get off the field before giving up any more yardage.
So on second down, the field goal unit is on here as they try to get 3 before half. Carlson able to put this one through, and they take the lead here now at 10-7. So a big play before the end of the half to get them into this spot, and they cash in with 3.
How about the 1-2 to the solar plexus on that one? The big play, the field goal, not much time left on the clock. That's the way to go into the half.
So 6 seconds, all that remains of this first half as the kick is away. From a yard or two deep, here comes a return. And the decision to bring it out, kind of a costly one, as he won't make it back to the 20. The Broncos going to get one more possession in this first half, and they'll have time for one play. That's it. 3 seconds to go before intermission.
All that remains is to snap this once, and that'll do it for the first half of play. So 2 quarters down, 2 remain. Charles and I return after the break. A good, tight football game thus far. 10-7 the score as we resume action on EA Sports. And able to take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. Well, the Broncos offense set to begin this third quarter. Well, out of the locker rooms here they come. Their first drive of the third quarter. And, Charles, they're trailing in this ball game, but we got a tight one set up to be a very entertaining second half.
And as we know, partner, in the NFL, there's trailing and there's trailing, right? Sometimes you're discouraged by how much you're down, but in this case, this is a tight ball game, so there's a sense of optimism here. I think they went in at the half and looked at their play sheet and said, these are the plays we really like. What do you say we use them to start the second half and get us going? Well, on every play call, you realize it's not going to go for a touchdown, so a lot of your calls are setting things up for maybe later in the game, trying to establish the inside run with toughness now, hopefully get to the perimeter later, and let's face it, you could do worse than a 4-yard run on first down.
And the defense closes quickly there. He'll get maybe a yard to the 33.
But you know that old expression, it's not my night? It hasn't been his so far. I don't know if the legs are a little bit heavy. Sometimes having to hang out all day and play doesn't exactly play to your advantage, but it's been a tough go for him.
And every time he looks up, somebody's there defensively. That was the same case on that play. That's going to be knocked away and incomplete.
And so many times we look at the opening drive of the third quarter as a tone setter, and many coaches do emphasize it, and that's a strong performance there defensively to force incompletion and, more importantly, force a quick punting situation.
The Broncos send out their punter now as he's on to punt for the 4th time tonight. And the fair catch is made at about the 27-yard line. 37 yards on the punt with no return.
And it will be 1st and 10 as they take over.
They'll start on the ground here on first down. And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage.
Hit and drop behind the line by Dre Greenlaw.
And that's what this defense is going to need to do more in the second half. Good pressure that time, forces some indecision in the backfield. He's going to wind up being taken down for a nice loss.
First play of the drive goes the wrong way. Here's 2nd and 12. Now they'll run on the draw. Only a couple there as he'll be brought down about the 28.
Sometimes your philosophies get challenged at times you don't want them to. They did try to stick to the running game on the first 2 plays. Didn't amount to much.
And now facing a 3rd and long at the outset of this drive.
Still needing 10 yards. Now it's 3rd down.
A shotgun snap for Smith. Now he'll dump it underneath to his running back. Complete. And he's going to get this to the 31, but that is still well short of what he needed. 3 yards, all they could muster there, and it'll bring up 4th down. Here's A.J. Cole now as he's on to punt for Las Vegas. This is taken at the 23. They'll call it a punt of 44 yards. The return was for 7.
And they will take over 1st and 10.
And coming out now, the Broncos. And our game's hit a little bit of a lull here, a little bit of a snag. Punts on back-to-back drives.
And old school coaches don't necessarily mind that. Didn't turn it over, right? Didn't create a big play for the other team. Right now what you're looking for is, can you gain an advantage in field position? And that's what both teams are seeking right now.
Yeah, they'll be seeking to gain that advantage here on this drive.
I think he's got to be careful not to force anything into coverage right there. There weren't really any throwing lanes, but the best part for him, he's got 2nd and 3rd down to fall back on.
2nd and 10.
Operating from the gun. Nix, a short throw to Ingram. And he's brought down at the 34. Call it a gain of 4.
There's a completion to the tight end, and I think that we're looking at something out of central casting, frankly.
Absolutely. He's got the size, the hands.
Speed. I mean, can flat out run. You put that whole package together, you light up the eyes of an offensive coordinator, don't you?
On 3rd down, he'll drop to throw.
Oh, this will be incomplete. The rush gets home just as he was letting that go. That could have been worse. Instead, it's 4th down.
Maybe a little frustration starting to creep in. The offensive line hasn't done a great job of protecting him in this game, and there he was, hit again as he threw it.
Yeah, another time on his backside, probably starting to get a little frustrated.
Got to keep his composure. Can't let the defense know that they're getting to him.
It'll be a 39-yard punt, no return. And out will come the offense as they take over. And now here come the Raiders. Their defense has done the job. Now it's the offense's turn as they've got it 1st and 10. Here's Smith.
That's caught by Tucker.
And he's got this almost to the 40 before going out. First play of the drive going.
Plenty of shouts from this crowd as they watch the replay. They want a challenge, and they're going to get one.
So from the 39 now, they'll come up on a 1st and 10. Now Geno.
He'll get the tight end Bowers involved there.
And he's tackled a yard short of the marker. Good gain of 9 on 1st down.
Now that's staying ahead of the chains. Really good pickup on 1st down, hitting the tight end there. Now it brings up a 2nd and manageable.
Just found a hole in that zone.
From the 48-yard line, here's 2nd and a yard.
They'll fake the handoff. Now Smith. Now he'll dump it underneath to his running back, complete. And he'll be brought down at the 45-yard line.
6 yards the pickup, and that's a 1st down.
We often talk about understanding the playbook, understanding progressions, and understanding what the defense is doing. We saw all of that on that play. Great recognition and understood where his running back was going to be. Found a way to have him leak out underneath, hit him with the football, and they picked up the 1st down.
And good space to operate there as he takes this down inside the 35-yard line. 84 yards for him on the ground now. He has been a tough man to bring down all night.
They're making it look easy out there. Another 1st down. So far on this drive, let me do this little bit of math here. 4 plays, 3 1st downs.
That's a pretty good recipe for success. Running game working. They'll stick with it on 1st down. And he'll take this ahead for about 4. 2nd down coming up.
Well, at the end of all that hitting and hollering, it was a 4-yard run, so the offense is going to go back to huddle and feel pretty good about themselves. Defensively, you have to feel okay because you didn't let it turn into a bigger run, but the goal, shut it down for 2 yards or less.
That's when you start to feel good about yourselves.
Here's Smith. And he's going to have to eat this one as down he goes.
Nick Bonito coming in there to record the sack.
This is a little hard for me to compute because I'm watching sack after sack happen, but somehow they're still behind in the game. I would expect all of this defensive pressure to translate to them taking a lead, and thus far, it hasn't happened. Time's winding down. They don't want to waste this type of performance from these ace pass rushers.
Work in the middle of the field, and he's got a man complete.
And he's taken down, but not before reaching the 10-yard line. Able to convert on 3rd and 14, a terrific play call.
With the kind of game he's had so far, you had to know that on 3rd down, that they would be looking his way, and they did, for big yardage and a first down. I think the defense fell asleep at the switch on that one. I would have doubled him, tripled him, anything to keep the ball.
Now a loose football. The ball comes out.
But it looks like one of the DBs has it. And now before the ball changes hands, they're going to take a look at this just to make sure that they have it right. The Raiders heading out to take over. Now this game, it has obviously been all about the defense on both sides of the football. Which offense is going to break through here? We'll see if they can do it on this drive. Toward the pylon, but it's incomplete.
And when you're in a one-score game in the second half, now's not the time to force the football in the places where you shouldn't. And that's a smart decision to just get that one out of there.
An incomplete pass on 2nd down leads us to 3rd and inches. Here's a give up the middle. And he's over the line and in for a Raider touchdown. A touchdown run there from a yard out. And they are able to add on to their advantage.
Well, this offensive line has really stepped up to the challenge here because those Mastodons, they've been sensational clearing holes all game long. And this is great work down here near the goal line to give their back the space he needs to work his way into the end zone.
Extra point by Carlson, up and good. And his guys will take a 10-point lead. Following the touchdown, ready to kick it away is Carlson.
And a decent return out to the 27-yard line.
And Denver getting set to take the field. They find themselves down 17-7 as they start this drive 1st and 10.
To throw is Nix.
He finds his man, complete. That's Harvey. So the completion good for just 3. And it's 2nd down.
All defenses worry that whenever anyone catches the ball and has a head of steam come out of the backfield, it could turn into a big play with missed tackles or he runs through people. But they were right there waiting, and they stopped him for a minimal gain.
Throwing Nix.
And he will slide to a stop. He does have the first down. A sticks move.
He certainly isn't looking at the scoreboard out there because, to me, all he's concerned about is analyzing the field and making most of the time left in this game. Deficit's still there, but he's starting to hit them with some big plays.
On the counter now, it's Dobbins.
And this will be taken across midfield and into Raider territory.
44 yards rushing for him now to this point.
You know what really fires up offensive linemen? When the guy that is carrying the ball behind them can create his own space and break a tackle along the way.
From just across the midfield stripe, here's a 2nd down and 4.
They'll go again with Dobbins. And he'll be brought down at the 45-yard line. 4 yards the pickup, 1st down.
Sometimes I get almost mesmerized watching these runners who have great vision. You know, those eyes that carry their feet to open spaces, make people miss. I just love watching those guys go to work.
Now it's Nix. He'll find his tight end. It's Adam Troutman.
And he's got this down to the 35. That'll be a pickup of 10 as they try to recover from this 10-point deficit.
And that's one of the better plays we've seen this offense put together so far. They haven't been able to get on track much at all. But listen, they're only down a couple of scores with the rest of this quarter and the entire fourth remaining, so stranger things have happened.
Here's a quick throw out to Mims.
The result, only 4 yards there on the play, and it's second down.
Nix to the air. He'll connect on the out route with Ingram.
He's going to go out of bounds, but he takes this one down just shy of the 20. Give him 10 yards there as this offense is on a roll. This drive continues to plunge forward.
He's certainly done a nice job spreading the field on this drive, and here he finds his big tight end for good yardage. And that's what you have to do. Keep defenses guessing about where you're going to go with the football.
Here's Nix once more.
Throwing right, and that's complete. And he takes it down to the 10-yard line. 11 more yards that go around, a first down as well.
Just picking up yardage in bunches here these last few plays. They have moved right down the field, and just like that, they're going to be set up with a first and goal.
First and goal, and they got to be thinking a chance to get right back into this football game.
Here's Nix. And this one complete again to Mims.
And he gets halfway home from the 10 to the 5 on a pickup of 5. And the ball smack dab on the 5-yard line. Here's second and goal.
To throw, here's Nix.
And he is into the end zone for a Denver touchdown. Evan Ingram, a 5-yard touchdown.
And the Broncos are able to cut into this deficit here in the final minute of the third. Well, down in this part of the field, CD, they'd love to get him the football, and right there, a little pitch and catch for the score.
Yeah, and he's such a weapon when it's that close to the end zone, and they love being able to rely on him to make those kind of catches. Talk about trust, talk about confidence, and he produces.
After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. And they can't bring him down.
And a good effort on the return there. Gets him across the 30, up to the 33.
So out come the Raiders.
Pretty important third quarter drive for them. Momentum has sort of shifted the other direction after that last touchdown as they nurse this small lead.
So they'll come up first and 10 now from the 33. They'll start this drive out on the ground. And this will leave them a yard short. Nice pickup of 9 yards on first down. Give him 9 on the carry that time, and they're set up with a 2nd and 1. 1 quarter remains here on a Sunday night. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. Welcome back now to Denver. It's been a very hotly contested game to this point. Just a field goal separating these two teams as we get set for the fourth quarter. Now it's Smith off the bootleg.
And that falls to the ground, incomplete. Well, a nice job of bodying him up defensively. And now it brings up third down.
One thing you hope to see out of a rookie tight end is a real concentration when the ball's in the air, and I'm not sure that he didn't. But he has to be prepared for people making a play on it when that ball's up for grabs.
On third down, they're going to run for it here. And he brings this up to the 46. Good enough for the first. It's a gain of 4 there, and it gives him a new set of downs. I'm guessing you'd say this is kind of the key here. Grind out some yardage, work on that clock, see if you can continue to tick it down.
Definitely, you want to bleed things out at this point, right? Continue to possess the football, gain some yardage, and put the onus on the defense. Do they have to use timeouts? What are they going to do to stop you? You're taking charge.
Here's Tucker, complete on the right side.
And he'll lose yardage on the play back at the 45-yard line. He was unable to shake free there, and they'll cover him for a loss of a yard.
Heck of a play there to get to him quickly and get him down for a loss.
I think they did a really nice job getting ready for this game, scouting, watching film, and understanding defensively what the play design was.
Out of the gun, Smith. Escaping the pressure, and he can't get rid of it. He's taken down. It'll go in the books as a 7-yard loss on the sack, and it's third down.
And this dominant defensive performance continued on that play. This poor quarterback has now received the protection he needs and has had to pick himself up off the turf far too often.
Now a tough spot for Geno Smith and company after the sack. It's third and long. Trying to lay one up deep. That's caught at the 25. And he's brought down after a very nice gain. How about that? They weather the storm of a 3rd and 17 to pick up the first.
We always talk about the guy who paid off the play, don't we? The guy who caught it or ran it. But how about the elements that go into making a big play? This one in particular, able to scan the field, pocket held up nicely. What a terrific job by the offensive line. The route well run, and the football right on the money.
It'll go down as a gain of 6, and that'll make it second down. They'll try and run this one right up the gut. And this won't be enough to pick up the first. A gain of 2, 3rd and 1. As we get late in this one, is altitude a factor for a visiting team in Denver? Is that something that's overplayed?
No, it's real, and I know a lot of the visiting teams like to downplay it because they don't want to get into the heads of their players, but you can't avoid it. As soon as you get to the locker room, you get to the stadium, they always post it in there. Welcome to Denver. Altitude 5,280 feet. The air is rare.
And he is going to have the Raiders first down as they're able to convert, albeit not by much, on 3rd and a yard. From down at the 12, it's 1st and 10.
One back in the backfield, he'll get the carry. He'll get this down inside the 10 for a pickup of about 3.
Well, that's not a run that's going to make any of the highlight tapes, but they've been moving it well all game on the ground. This is another one that keeps them moving forward.
It's 2nd and 7 from the 9.
And they'll keep leaning on the running game. Back to the ground. And running room hard to come by here. He gets it down to the 8. Just a couple on the ground there, and that's going to bring up 3rd and about 6.
Well, praise has to go to the guys on the offensive line because they've had a very nice, productive day running the football. How about that poor defensive line? They've been knocked around the entire game, and while they slowed them down on that run, can they continue to do so? Because they haven't had much success throughout this ball game.
Now it's Smith. Touchdown, Raiders. Jacoby Myers from 8 yards out.
And the Raiders are able to build on to their 4th quarter lead. Well, that's certainly going to bump up the old win probability index because now it's a 2-score game here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, you're taking me into that deep water now. Win probability index. This game's definitely not over. We're not looking at a 0.5% or something. It's just 2 scores. But the way that this team has played, to me, what I've seen, they absolutely deserve to win this game. They've been the better team by far throughout.
Following the touchdown, ready to kick it away is Carlson.
And he'll be stopped up at the 25. And we get another look now at this Broncos offense. And you figure after giving up that last touchdown, they trail by 2 scores here in the fourth quarter. This drive becomes very critical. The drive will commence with a run by J.K. Dobbins. And not a whole lot there, maybe a yard to the 27.
Defenses always talk about earning the right to rush the passer on third down. And you know what offenses want? Win first down so they can set things up for themselves better.
And that wasn't helpful there. Not a big impact on first down. Still 9 yards to go on second down from the 27.
Looking to throw. Nix. Oh, the ball comes out on the hit, but they'll say it's incomplete.
Tell you what, partner, after he ices down, he's going to need a nice long soak in a hot tub after this one. He's been under duress the entire game.
Yeah, once again, hit as he throws. Fortunate that one wound up incomplete. The Broncos on third down. They've converted 3 times in 8 chances. This is 3rd and 9.
They'll go play action with Nix.
And he works his way past the line of scrimmage and then slides to a halt. The decision to tuck and run gets him 3, but that's not enough. Now it's 4th.
Nice call on defense, rolling out the nickel package for that big third down play, and they did an excellent job locking down coverage and forcing him to try and run for it, and he doesn't get there, which brings up a big 4th down call.
On 4th down, the punt team is on as this is sent away. Fair catch called for and made right at the 25-yard line. So a change of possession here on the punt.
Here's Las Vegas ready to take the field. They've got a chance now to put this game away following that last defensive stop and punt.
Throwing now is Geno. And he's got his man on the out route. 2 yards on the pickup there, and that'll bring up 2nd down.
But it appears that they read man defense and went to the out route, and what you have to do on that one is the receiver's got to make sure he works the defender towards the middle of the field to give himself space to cut to the outside and have that ball delivered with good timing, and they got it done.
From the gun, they'll try to run it.
And only able to get 2 here, stopped at the 30.
Defensively, we always know that he is tough in run support, and I think the way that he gets there is he understands what an offense is going to do before the ball's even snapped. A great job of scouting prior to the game, then reading, reacting, and taking the right path to the ball carrier.
Geno now to throw. They'll try and set up the screen. It's complete. And he'll be taken down, but not before they work it across midfield. How about 25 yards on 3rd down? They'll take it.
For as many sacks as this defense has, you can understand their willingness to try and get upfield and get another. So what a really smart play call here to use their aggression against them, go with the screen, and they're able to get the 1st down.
A handoff as they run the counter play.
And good space to operate there as he takes this down inside the 35-yard line. 122 yards on the ground for him now as he has gotten better, really, as the night's gone on.
Well, that's a carry they have to be satisfied with, and throughout this game, they've been satisfied with what he's given them. Whenever they've needed a big run, a 1st down, he's the guy they've turned to, and it doesn't matter what the defense thinks. They feel like they've got the confidence to keep handing it to him and keep picking up good yardage.
A pickup of about 3 yards as he's taken down at the 31. If nothing else, they've already taken a couple minutes off the clock here already as they come up 2nd down. They'll fake it. Now Smith.
Mayer there to bring it in.
And this is going to be another 1st down as they'll make the tackle at the Broncos 19. Well, that's one of the drawbacks of running the RPO. If those linemen go into run block mode, you can't throw it if they're more than a yard downfield. One back in the backfield, he'll get the carry. And maybe a measure of revenge there. He's had his way in this one, but this time they get him behind the line. Third down, now even tougher. 3rd and 13 after that loss of a yard. Finally, defensively, they have a little clip to show positive for actually stopping him running the football.
It's been a really long night for them, hasn't it? So they got a little bit of a win there, but let's face it, the vision that he's had running the football has carried his feet to the open spaces and to big yardage all night long.
That's going to bring up 4th down, only a gain of 2 there.
Whether you're playing West Coast offense or not, one of the maxims of the West Coast offense is you're either throwing a touchdown or a check down. In other words, look for the big shot, but be smart. And I think they did exactly that on that play. They didn't get the first down, but they're taking care of the ball well.
Yeah, and being rightly cautious with that lead here in the second half. The kick by Carlson is good, and that will extend their lead even further.
So that maybe not a knockout blow, but I suppose certainly every little bit helps when you're trying to salt one away in the 4th.
Well, the possibility of being beaten by 2 late touchdowns or at least sent to overtime does exist, but time, definitely a big factor at this stage of the game, is in their favor.
After the made field goal, Carlson now sets up to kick this away.
And they'll get him down inside the 30 at the 27. Denver's offense now set to go. Defense got the better of them last series, forcing a punt. See if they make a few changes in the game plan here and try to get points out of this drive. 1st and 10.
Throwing to start the drive. Nix. And a big loss here as he's taken down. Max Crosby in there to get him yet again. That is his 3rd sack tonight. They can't figure him out.
Well, this has to count as a great team effort today, but this man, he's been at the center of all of it. Really special day for any defense to have this many sacks in a game, even more so for this player. One of the best individual efforts of the season.
A throw left sideline falls incomplete.
Well, if you're going to give out a little applause on that play, it has to go to the defense. More good work by them. They've taken away the passing lanes all game long, and you can see the frustration that it's causing because he just about threw that one into the first row.
An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on 3rd down. Back to throw. Nix. Max Crosby make that now 4 sacks for him in tonight's ball game.
My man, it's been a rough night for that offensive line, and it's only getting rougher. 5 sacks now that they've given up in this contest so far. It feels like the witching hour out here, doesn't it?
Okay, stupid question. What's the witching hour?
Yeah, the witching hour. That's when everything goes haywire late at night.
And he's got his man in stride, complete. But they're going to wrap him up as he'll go down well short of a first. The Broncos unable to convert here on 4th. And now, goodness, possession's going to go over right at the 10-yard line.
So not quite a 1st and goal. It's 1st and 10 from the 10.
They'll start by running the option to the right. And he'll be taken down after a short gain as that takes us to the 2-minute warning. Give him 3 on the keeper there, and it is 2nd down. They'll try and run some clock here as they keep it on the ground. And he'll take it into the end zone for a Raider touchdown. A great effort there. His 2nd touchdown of the night.
And the Raiders have put this one to bed here in the 4th quarter.
Sometimes you get a 1st and goal and you're back near the 7, 8, 9-yard line and you start thinking, maybe we'll run it here on 1st down to get half of what we need, so maybe we can have 2 or 3 shots at going for it from closer range. So this is a bonus right here. What a great run to work his way into the end zone.
Following the touchdown, ready to kick it away is Carlson. Unable to corral him. He fights through. And he's up across the 25 and down at the 28. So the Broncos coming out now.
Well, probably not much that they can do at this point, CD. Down 3 scores late in the fourth quarter. This is going to be a little too much to overcome, you would think.
Yeah, they'll go down swinging, but in the end, I think we saw the writing on the wall a while back because one team was clearly better than the other in this one. And while it didn't quite reach blowout status, I think we knew who was going to win this one well before we got to this stage. That was well played, but that was also an example of a corner who understands his coverage, realized he had support behind him, and could be a little more aggressive in the shorter zone, and did exactly that, knocking that pass away.
Here's 2nd and 10.
Looking to throw. Nix. And down he goes. Brought down a Raider sack.
Malcolm Kuntz
in there to get him. That is the 6th time that they have sacked him tonight.
Well, collectively as a defense, Charles, I think if you get 4 sacks a game, you're feeling really good. Now they have 6 as a unit.
And that type of a number is just staggering because there's so many ways to try and counteract it. But in this case, they've got no...
Looking right side, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Eric Stokes.
And he'll get this back to the 32-yard line. On first down, they'll go to the ground attack. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up.
Well, any lane that might have been open there was closed pretty quickly, and that was because the defensive front, they won that battle at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. They used great leverage, held their spot, and stacked him up.
2nd down and 8.
And they'll give him another shot here on the ground. And they'll get this one down to about the 20-yard line.
A pickup of 10, and it's enough for a Las Vegas first down. No doubt those are the types of carries they're looking for here, Charles. The lead in the fourth quarter. This is when coaches that have a reliable running game, they breathe a little easier on the sideline.
Yeah, they love the idea that they can take the air out of the football at this point of the game. That means they're really counting on that offensive line, counting on the runners, taking care of the football. Because you're going to tell your quarterback, hey, no time to be a hero. We're not going to throw it here. Just eat up that clock. And if you have the ball, they can't score.
Well, this was a very close ball game at halftime, Charles, but in the second half, that offense kind of kicked things into another gear, and they were able to pull away for the victory.
And, Brandon, I think they're the type of team that just looked in the mirror and said, hey, ton of pressure on, but we're the type of team that can flat out handle it. They stood up with confidence, and made it happen for a victory.
So that'll do it for us. For my partner, Charles Davis, and all the hard-working men and women on our crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL right here on EA Sports. From Denver, good night, everybody.